Last night we were talking about defining who we are and how really just whatever the definition, high or low, that's the only thing that's in the way of actually directly experiencing who you are. So in our life as human beings, we receive definitions from our parents and schools and churches and governments, and we accept those, or we rebel against them, or we change them and switch schools and churches and governments and shuffle them around, and we're preoccupied with defining ourselves all the time, really searching for the truth of ourselves in some definition, and always coming up short, of course. Because a definition may relate to a particular aspect, such as I could say I'm a woman, I'm an American woman, but how limited that is, it's so limited that it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do really about the truth of who I am. But if I believe it does, then I'm a particular kind of woman and a particular type of American, and that then means something relative to who you are and how you see what I am and how I see what you are. And there's a lifetime used up. I mean, that takes a full lifetime to work on that. So the invitation is really to surrender your definitions. Each one of them, all of them, just to wipe the slate clean and see what's left. One of our great fears in that, or the great fear maybe, is that then we won't know anything, because our definitions are really about acquiring knowledge. And given the type of brain we have as humans, knowledge is power. And it is. I mean, knowledge of the past, knowledge of the probable future, knowledge of what's happening now and how to analyze that, that's a great power. And there's nothing wrong with that power inherently. It's often wrongly used. But it's a power we don't want to surrender. We don't want to not know. Because if we really don't know, especially who we are, that is an experience of absolute vulnerability and nakedness. It's really being stripped down to some bareness where there is no definition. But that's required to discover what is untouched by any definition. And until you discover what's untouched by any definition, there's still some bondage to some definition, either in accepting that or rebelling against that, or building consensus about that. And one of the most insidious definitions is of yourself as a spiritual being. I mean, that's a really beautiful definition. It's much more beautiful than yourself as a purely material being. But because it's so beautiful, it has a certain allure that it's really hard to give up. It's a golden definition with tinkling symbols. It's very different from the kind of plodding definition of I am this body. Thank God I'm not this body, I'm a spiritual being. And there's a lightness that comes with that, and a beauty. And it's as true as I am a body. I mean, they're both true as aspects of the experience of incarnation. But the insidious part is that it really, it just misses it. And in just missing it, you miss everything. And so stop me if I'm wrong, but my experience is that when I defined myself as a spiritual human being, there's a way I thought I was supposed to be acting and looking and feeling. And if I wasn't feeling a particular way, especially oceanic way, or in unity way, then there was this horror that maybe I'm not a spiritual being, you know? Maybe I really am just another clog of dirt. And then the building up of the proof of I am, because there's a great love for humanity and for God and for all creatures, great and small. So I am a spiritual being, and in that, this inflation, and then back and forth and back and forth. Until finally I realized I don't know whether I'm a spiritual being or whether I'm just a material being. And the spiritual being stuff is some fairy tale that just helps me sleep at night. Or keep me awake. I really didn't know. I mean, I wanted it to be true because it's a much better definition than what I grew up learning I was. So I really wanted it to be true, but I couldn't know that because I kept having proof that I wasn't. I mean, any experience of separation was proof that I wasn't, and I had a million a day, a trillion, a zillion. So for myself, I had to become disillusioned with what I knew. I realized I don't know what I need to know, because all of my accumulated knowledge is really not giving me the absolute satisfaction that I'm craving. And it was a really important point in my life where I could tell the truth about that rather than just sort of roll on and keep gathering more information, go to more teachers, read more books, get more proof one way or the other. And in that I really prayed to find or be led to be called to a teacher who could just set me straight one way or the other. Either that this whole spiritual business was just a lovely trance that we put ourselves in, or the whole material business was just a trance that we put ourselves in, or they both were real and neither was real, just to somehow get me out of my cycling. And I was so surprised to meet my teacher very quickly after that, actually. Really surprised that he was Indian. Wasn't interested in gurus at all. And that was one thing I was certain about. I was positive I wasn't interested in the guru. So to find myself at the feet of my guru and be really listening to him and recognizing that he was my guru, even though I had hated that word, it seemed so tainted, but here I was at the feet of my guru and in love and listening very carefully. And he said to me, stop everything. And after some time, I really began to hear what that meant. It is such a huge phrase, stop everything. At first, I thought it meant the gross things, like stop moving your body. But the more I let that in, the more I could see it really meant so much. Stop searching, stop defining, stop looking for knowledge to deliver the truth. Stop doing anything. And he wasn't saying that for the rest of your life. He said for one moment. How many moments, how many seconds do you have in a lifetime? You take one second and stop everything. And in that 1 second, you discover directly what is real. what is undefinable, what needs no knowledge for its proof. You discover who you are. And then if there is a definition or a knowledge or revelation, it comes from that 1 second of not knowing anything, not defining anything, not searching for a definition. Just that 1 second. Then it comes from emptiness, rather than trying to follow some definition to emptiness, or some hope, or some story of spirit, being, consciousness, Satchidananda, God, fairies, angels, whatever version we're telling ourselves, just to be willing to not have any of those stories. It was so radical that it did take some time for it to sink in, because it was shocking. It is shocking. Because everything I had read, I had interpreted as gathering and getting and acquiring. And all of a sudden this command to stop everything was terrifying. But I was at that point in my life where I was willing to try anything. And this was something I had never tried. I mean, since we were little children, we learn about accumulating, getting more knowledge, defining. That's just the way humans grow. It's the way most primates grow. They imitate, and they gather, and they watch, and they get corrected. And that's beautiful. That in itself is beautiful, but it didn't really deliver what I was deeply needing to be delivered. And when he told me to stop, I was willing to stop, even if it meant I would fall back in the evolutionary ladder, back into some vegetative state, back to the tree shrew or something. I mean, that's what came up for me. If I really stop, I will lose what I have got. Should I correct this? Oh. That if I stop getting more, because that's part of it, I get more so I can keep what I've got. You can never quite get enough knowledge because we're learning more every day and discovering more, and then as you age, you learn more, and with each relationship you learn more, and with each teacher you learn more. So then how you balance it all, and then this flow and that flow, and the good day and the bad day, and here he's saying stop, and he said put your burden down. I put my burden down. I had no idea how I had defined myself by this burden of knowledge, trying to make it be congruent, trying to make it somehow fit and define me. And then in that definition, I could rest. I could be fulfilled. I could be enlightened. I could be happy. I could be at home. And he said, just put it down. Forget everything you've read. Forget everything you've heard. It's like, whoa, shock waves. Relief and then fear. Should I? Who is he? How can I trust him? And he said, don't trust me. It's just you take one moment, 1 second. You can always pick it all up. It will all be there. You can find it very easily. You just take 1 second for true inquiry, true investigation, and see what's here. You're ready for that, or you couldn't even entertain the possibility of it. And I heard him. And I was ready for it. And it blew my mind. It stopped my mind. And what a surprise. What a fresh surprise at discovering what had always been here. And discovering I had always known it was here, but somehow had been adding definitions to that in hopes that the fulfillment would come from the definition rather than just the returning to what has always been here. At least from the time I was conscious as a human being, so 4, 3, so I was in my 40s then, was exactly the same. My body had aged. I had gained lots of knowledge. I had changed lifestyles several times, changed churches, changed rules, but this was just the same as when I was a little girl. Same consciousness, same purity. And even those words, consciousness and purity, aren't right. There's no word that's right. Because any word, somehow, though we do use words, and it's a great challenge to use word, any word does make some kind of definition, does separate it from purity from impurity. So it's not the word, it's not the definition, it's not the knowledge, the learned knowledge. It is a knowing, but it's not a learned knowing. It's the awareness that's already present in you, that is already aware of itself as awareness, and just has never stopped the flow outward to actually turn back and investigate what's here. What's the source of all the learned knowledge? What's the source of every thought, every action, every body, every plant, every planet? It's all discoverable right here in you as you. And this is a guarantee. The only way the guarantee can be made good is if you are willing to take 1 second and stop. And it's surprisingly a great challenge for people to take a second. 1 second. Take 12 seconds. Tonight we have, at least another hour together. In this hour, at some point, just stop. And in that stopping, really stopping, it's really possible to inquire. It's really possible to give rise to a thought of inquiry. Is anything needed when everything stops? When every definition, when every knowledge of the past or the future or the present stops just for a moment. Is anything needed? Is anything lacking? Then there's the possibility of choice. Because this is discovered in this one moment, indefinable, unknowable revelation is always here. And in the day-to-day life of choosing to go and to learn, I love to learn, I support learning. Gathering knowledge is like gathering food. It's healthy. But if you are relying on knowledge or food of any kind to give you the ultimate satisfaction, you are overlooking the ultimate satisfaction that's already here. Whether you're starving, whether you're ignorant, whether you're enlightened. And that's the very simple invitation that's offered from my teacher through me to you tonight. It's utterly simple. The results are, well, they reverberate through your life for the rest of your life. But it takes enormous courage. It takes giving up everything you think yourself to be, everything you think you've got, everything you think you might lose if you don't hold on to it, every state you think you've acquired, every state you hope to acquire in the future, everything you hope to become, everybody you think has done you wrong or right, every score you've yet to settle, business to complete, forgiveness to do, all of it. The play is over in one instant, just over. And then, as you are conscious and it's over, you tell the truth. What's left? What's still here? Does it have a bottom? Does it have a top or a beginning or an end? Then the mind is actually turned toward exploring the unknown rather than accumulating known. Is it clear? Did it make sense? That's all I'm ever saying. And it's only an invitation. I'm not here as a missionary. I'm not here to convert you. It's really your choice. I'm here to let you know you have a choice. It's possible you may not be aware that you have a choice to stop defining yourself, to stop seeking yourself in some accumulated something, knowledge or experience or degrees. So I'm here to let you know you have a choice. And I'm here to support you in discovering that for yourself. Because there's a lot of proof that we don't have a choice. But if we have a conversation together and we are both interested in going deeper into the conversation, it can be proved to yourself, by yourself, that there is a moment of choice. And that it's a thought that actually has to be followed. That causes your suffering, that causes your seeking, that causes your defining. And I'm not even saying that's wrong. It's fine. It's the way the mind works. But there's another choice. So let's get in conversation and make this concrete and relevant to you.